Well, howdy everyone. Welcome back to another market closing live stream. It looks like crypto is selling down a little bit as the indices more broadly recover. Actually, we had some time during the middle of the day where the indices were heading pretty red. S&P was down. Russell 2000 doing very well. Those small caps are picking up, and the Nasdaq was getting beat up the most, down almost 1.8% at one point during the day. Dow almost got to zero, almost a break even, but did recover. Instead, it looks like crypto is falling a little bit. So let's talk about crypto in just a moment. I do want to show, though, the indices here. Take a look at the indices. Dow up a third. So definitely up more than the low it had gotten. It was up more this morning, though. Worth noting, it was up over 200 to 250 points, but did almost get down to zero, back to a third now. S&P sitting around zero, slightly to the downside. NASDAQ tech down about a third of a percent here, kind of leading the losses right now. Technology stocks leading those losses. The Google, the Amazon, the Apple. And then, of course, the Russell doing very well as recovery stocks and smaller caps start taking off a little bit here. So exciting. But crypto having a little bit more pain. So let's take a look here. And crypto also now starting to recover a little bit. Just in the last, this is the minute chart here. So just the last 20 minutes had a little bit of a crypto recovery, but we're seeing some crypto tightening here, not just on the news of China, although a lot of it has to do with the China FUD, the China crackdown. Why is China continuing to sort of reiterate this message at this point? I don't know, and especially I think it's almost like algorithmic traders just selling off any sort of Chinese headline, which I think is silly. But anyway, you certainly see some of that pain at Ethereum. We just dropped below below 3,000 here for a moment, just about 25 minutes ago. But why might this be happening? Well, in my opinion, we could be seeing some crypto selling off at the moment, as we're starting to see potentially concerns that, hey, what if we expect to start tapering in November, but now we've got some board members coming out saying, "Hey, we're not going to taper. We're going to maybe keep spending a little bit." And I think this sort of mixed messaging is maybe setting some heart palpitations here. Although we really do expect that taper to come in November, but some Federal Reserve board members did come out and suggest, "Hey, maybe we'll see. Maybe we won't be quite ready," which you'd think would be bullish for crypto. But for some reason, this uncertainty around both the Chinese plays and what is the Fed actually going to do? Are we going to taper? Are we not going to taper? Or leading to some movements here. I mean, I set alerts for when they go down 5% within a day, and I got alerts on Cardano and Ethereum today. Again, we've had a little bit of a recovery here, but bobbing along lower trends here. Let's go out to, for example, 1 hour here. We're bobbing along what we've seen really the last week to almost 10 days now in this sort of channel. This trend down is really where I'm getting the alerts off of, because we did run up to 44.3, for example, on BTC again, but right down to 43,000 again. Cardano, we saw even just as recently as 2 days ago, where you ran up to $2.46. Only to come rotating back down to about 217 where we sit now. And Ethereum on the sort of 1 hour chart also rotating down over here. So something to keep an eye on. Some folks buying the dip on it. Makes sense. Probably personally would be looking for a little bit more of a discount to buy the dip there. But yes, some incredible momentum plays here beyond the crypto space. A lot of momentum moving up today, almost in sync. I mean, look at some of the momentum here. Camber, Naked, Metamaterial, not so much Nordic, XL Fleet, Workhorse, Gevo, Fuel Cell, Hyliion, let's see, TMC, Fisker. These all of the names that I just mentioned here, even Electromechanica, very much momentum driven, higher short interest plays. A lot of SPACs, a lot of speculation, smaller companies expecting growth, very easy for momentum to build in these and run. It is worth noting that a lot of these have done some incredible runs or had some incredible runs and then have almost evaporated in their share prices. Although now we're seeing sort of that bounce off bottom. We saw it last week at Canoe. We've seen it over the last 3 weeks at Matterport. But what happens after you see a momentum move? After you see a momentum move, it's no surprise. You get days like this. Look at this. Dutch Bros down 8.62%. Matterport down 7.27%. They always seem to revert back to that sort of mean. In my expectations, we don't have that yet for Dutch Bros. We don't know where this one might be going. But in my expectation, I am anticipating Matterport to go back to $17, maybe even $14 to $16. It doesn't necessarily have to go that low, but I wouldn't be surprised to revisit that $17 range. So while I want to actually rebuild a position in this, I'm not super anxious to do that. I'm more interested in potentially selling puts to lock in some high IV, and then if we get to a lower point, buying some shares. That would be exciting for me. Dutch Bros, which selling puts is obviously one way of getting into shares. Dutch Bros down 8.5%. Again, not super surprising that we would see this sell off, just given the insane runs that it has had since IPO. Let's get to the day chart here. That does not look like a day chart. Okay, yeah, we're on work. There we go. I'm like, that does not look like the day chart for Dutch Bros. There we go. This is more what I was expecting to see. Dutch Bros, you have had, let's go to the normal sticks here so you can see it a little bit better. Dutch Bros, you've had this insane IPO gap up to that $49 range here. Had a slight red day, but mostly up, and then a slight little bits of red here, and finally starting to see a larger red candlestick to the downside here. These are the average candlesticks to show you sort of the trend here. But yeah, finally a reversal on Dutch Bros, which is a sign of some momentum leaving. GoEV felt this last week. We actually don't yet have that red candlestick showing here on the day chart, but we had these 3 solid days of pump, pump, pump. And now we're seeing that give back. Same thing with Matterport. Look at this. Pump, 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 pump. Much longer of a pump. But now we're starting to see that red candlestick to the downside here. So, again, similar opportunities or really, let me put it this way. When we look at crypto and we look at certain stocks, I find the patterns are very, very similar. Momentum plays, run up like crazy, and then they sell down. It's almost expected. The same thing happens with crypto. We get fear, uncertainty, and doubt, whether it's from China or whether it's from some random event or occurrence. We get dips, and then we come back. It's almost something you could program, and that's exactly what a lot of institutional traders do. Remember, 70% of trading is institutional based in cryptocurrencies. But I personally would be looking for opportunities to potentially either buy the dip or get ready to buy the dip. Like, for example, over here, I'm ready to go in heavier at Matterport. I wouldn't mind picking up a little bit today, but I would only buy a small fraction knowing that there was a good chance we'll continue to trend down. And so I would probably consider waiting a little bit on Matterport to buy the dip. Who knows, though? That could always be a mistake. Could be up 7% tomorrow. It's done that before. So that's why sometimes it makes sense to buy a little bit of the position. So that way, hey, if it goes down more, you buy more. If it goes up, all right, well, at least you established a little bit more. So that's a possibility. Looking at Voyager Digital. Here's a crypto play, Canadian crypto brokerage. Really just been getting punished. Very much beaten down here, down to $10. Hippo is maybe fractionally below where I bought it, around that 480 to 490. That was my range on Hippo. And now we're sitting at 474, so a tiny little bit down, unfortunately, on Hippo. Still have the faith, though. That's okay. They go through cycles. And we've got AMC down 1.5%. This is, by the way, and I realized this, I think it was late Friday. This is the only covered call I have left. I thought I had dumped all my covered calls, but I forgot I still had one on AMC, and I still have that. Oopsies. AMC going down, by the way, is actually good for a covered call because it makes it cheaper for me to be able to rebuy that. Right now, that covered call is, let's see here. It says 61% up, so about 15K up. It wasn't a big position. It was yeah, let's see. Hold on a second here. Okay. Why is it showing? It's showing it to me weird. See, it does this funny thing where it ties it together. There we go. Okay, this is what I wanted to show. With Webull, sometimes it does this funny thing where it ties together what what your share position is and your covered call, so I can show what I did when I did it, just to give a little bit of an example, and then we'll get back to the sticks here. Okay, so just to show here, this is what it looks like. It's an AMC $55 call option that I sold to somebody against the shares that I hold, about 2,100 shares. So 21 contracts is what I sold. I received a credit for $24,500 for making this agreement. And so far, I've already recognized or potentially recognized 15,200 of it. So if I were to close this out right now, instead of holding it through December, I'd be up $15,000 against my shares. Which the cool thing about that is I didn't put in any extra money. I just took the existing shares that I had sitting there, and I said, I promise I'll sell these to someone if it's over $55 in December. And so for doing that, I got paid money. Now, if I close this contract, I lower my cost basis in AMC by $15,000, which is great, because literally right now, my cost basis on AMC is, you can't make this stuff up. It's a perfect hedge. Literally, my cost basis on AMC right now is down $14,800. So that is, the shares cost me $97K, and we're at a market value of 82. So that covered call right now today makes AMC break even for me, because I had that covered call. As obviously the stock has been trending down in the last week or so here. The problem is they're dangerous, right? You have to be careful of those. They are dangerous because if you end up trading, if you end up having a skyrocket, you have the potential for, if you want to trade the contract, unlimited loss in a call. Now, there are things you could do to mitigate that. You can buy more shares, you can buy a different call, you can roll the option. Obviously, there are a lot of things that you can do, but it's just worth mentioning. Do you still have the affirmed put? It's the sold put. I always want to make sure, clarify that. Yes, I do. And I did sell my win 1015, but my affirmed put, I think that was in Robinhood. But yeah, y'all know this. Every time I buy or sell, I send an alert in Stocks and Psychology Money. But yes, a firm put I still have, and that's a sold put for 2024, and that gave a big old credit. That's in Robinhood, but we just established that last week. So yeah, all right. What else do we have here? Let's see here. I'm gonna go into here. Oh, FINRA stats are up. Really? Let me see here. No, I sold my end phase call back when it was like 180, 190. I took some big tendies on that end phase call. Yeah. So anyway. Yeah, remember all my alerts, Stocks and Psychology of Money. All right, but anyway, FINRA margin. Really? FINRA margin stats up. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. FINRA margin. Whoa. People have taken on some extra debt. Take a look at that. Highest level of margin debt we've seen yet. That's an interesting one. That surprises me a little bit. Wow. Anyway, all right. Kevin, you into any NFTs? Nope. As long as BTC doesn't close a daily candle below 42,000, we're fine. All right. We shall see. Yeah, I don't think we're going to go below 42. I mean, we've let's see here. Daily candle. Yeah, we have closed below this before. Let me see here. Oh, no. Nope. Never mind. That was an intraday. I'm sorry. No. On this day, we went up closing. Oh my gosh, at 44. Yeah, look at that. We do not have a candle below 42. Wow. Right here on 9/20, you had a candle at 42,087. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're right. Nothing under 42 yet. That's very interesting. Look at that shelf. It's almost perfect right here. It's almost so perfect. We need to put a little line there. Oh, I screwed it up. Dang it. I put it in the wrong spot. There we go. I'll put that right at about 42. Could be. I'll change the color on this one a little bit too. There we go. All right. We'll see what happens. Oh, where did it go? Weeble's driving me nuts. See, this is why you got to lock your little trade sliders here. There we go. We'll put it somewhere right around there. Ooh, that's close. Okay, lock. Ugh, good enough. All right, so yeah, that's interesting. Now, again, massive momentum runs here. Very, very risk on, which is very interesting. Momentum is seen as risk on. Very, very interesting to me. Then we've got, oh gosh, I mean, this whole page is almost just risk on. Gee whiz. Hey, look, Big Digital ran again. Nice. Yeah, that had a sell down there on China FUD. Let's see here. EXPI. Wow, EXPI at $52 right now. That's amazing. Good, good, good. Oh my gosh, Affirm's holding on to that 128. That's amazing. Lemonade up 3%. Kind of just getting back to where it was, though. That's not so exciting. Canadian Solar finally up. Tesla almost broke 8. Did we break 800 today or did we not? No, 799. We got to a high of 799 and now it's selling down a little bit to 794. Well, what moves? Crazy market. That's what we're in. It's a crazy market. All right, so let's see here. Ebony wood stain or white paint on a new camera. I don't know. It depends on it depends on the counters and the floor and a lot of things. I haven't done ebony yet before though. I would think that might be a little too dark for a kitchen. That's just my reaction. Anyway, so all right, cool. So AMD, nice mover today, about 2.2%. That was Nvidia. Nvidia sitting down about 174. We do have some losers here to the downside, like again Matterport, Palantir, DocuSign. I'm really hoping trends down so I can actually go shopping for this one a little cheaper. Let's listen to this interview here for a moment. What do we got over here?
If we continue to get the kind of earnings beats that we've had from our industrial and financials, with 88% of companies beating estimates, then we can absolutely have good absolute and relative performance in value stocks. I mean, it helps.
Well, it's also worth mentioning that even though we beat even though we beat estimates a lot, stocks are such a disaster when it comes to earnings that it makes it really hard to play earnings, because you could have a triple beat and still have a stock that goes down. Worth noting.
Energy sector, which is outperforming the broader market today. Several analysts are weighing in with bullish calls. CNBC.com's Pippa Stevens has those details for us. Hey, Pippa.
Hey, Morgan. Well, energy stocks are up more than 3% today, bringing September's gains to nearly 12%. And Wall Street analysts are not fading this rally. Goldman hiked its year-end Brent crude target by $10 to $90 per barrel, noting that names like Exxon and ConocoPhillips look attractive. BMO, meanwhile, saying the stars are aligning for the energy sector, which is, quote, in the early stages of a multi-year upcycle. Devon, Pioneer Natural Resources, and Canadian Natural among their top picks. And over at Bank of America, they're pointing out that while energy has recovered from the COVID-era decline, it's not yet back to pre-2020 levels. Stocks on their buy list include Occidental, Chevron, and Hess. So, guys, a lot of names here to watch. Back to you.
All right, Pippa, thank you. Lindsay, your thoughts on energy and specifically the stocks? I mean, it's not just crude, right? It's also natural gas, which is, what, I think $5.73 last I checked right now, which is just an incredible move there. I mean, energy stocks are the best performing sector.
Yeah, it is good for Tesla, actually.
That a company that calls itself American Express that pulled in $3.1 billion in earnings last year based on the American financial system is telling its employees how horrible the U.S. system, U.S. government is in our nation. And listen, we all need. There's room for improvement here. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against diversity training. I'm just saying where they went was too far. And it was interesting when I talked to these Wall Street execs. When they start looking at their seminars, a lot of them said, we didn't go as far as American Express, but we started seeping in that sort of in that direction. Yeah. So what they're trying to do now is strike this balance.
I think he's just complaining about American Express.
So we've actually seen energy earnings move up the most in the third quarter of any sector. But the stocks, while they've been on fire over the last month and a half or so, and even on a year-to-date basis, I guess you can say, they haven't quite caught the move higher in WTI. So there's still a gap there. And when you look at the energy sector overall, it is one sector that is trading at a discount in the S&P 500. And it's a sector that's 8% off of its 52-week highs.
All right, we're gonna pull off the energy discussion here. Yeah, wow, very, very fascinating. It does look like Tesla's slipping a tiny little bit here into the close. Take a look at that, a little bit of a slip into the close here. It has been above this level for most of the day, so it's possible you've got a little bit of trading happening here. Ken Griffin lied is top trending on Twitter right now. Wow, that's interesting. Did they find something else out? Let's see here. Add some more hippo here. Says Joseph. If oil, crude, and gas continue this trend, EV will gain mass adoption. If natural gas prices rise, Enphase looks even better. If chip shortage just subsides, these companies will rally. Yep, that is honestly that's like a tweet right there. That was really well said. Wow, that like so succinct and so like perfect. Because I agree in all directions. It is very interesting. So good. Let's see. EV played lithium battery recycling. I don't think we're anywhere close, honestly. Anywhere close. So what is this? Let's see here. Oh, don't worry about the spelling. A sold put. Well, ChargePoint has lockup expiration tomorrow. But what is this? 45 minutes ago, Tesla, Apple suspend production. What is this talk here? Some suppliers. All right, it looks like Reuters had this a while ago. Okay, Apple, Tesla suppliers suspend production in China amid power pinch. Wow. Several Apple and Tesla suppliers have suspended production at some Chinese factories for a number of days to comply with tighter energy consumption policies, putting supply chains at risk. That's interesting, but also not good. In peak season for electronic goods. Yeah, no kidding. We've got two major Taiwanese chip manufacturers, however, said their China facilities were operating as normal. Development comes as tight coal supplies in China and toughening emissions standards have triggered a contraction in heavy industries in certain industries and certain regions, dragging the country's economic growth rate down. Wow. Let's see here. China, okay, stop production from Sep 26th until midnight to comply with electricity production requirements or usage requirements. No plans. Okay, and then they sort of just list different companies here. Okay. So, okay, whatever. I mean, look, the last thing we want is more chip shortages, and shutting down for 4 days seems a little odd, but oh well, just another bump in the road. It's the way to look at it. Tesla is falling pretty nicely here into the close. Tesla dropping here, really giving up about that extra percent that it had here. We also have Dutch Bros falling more than expected, and now almost down a full 9%. Matterport recovering a tiny little bit into the close here, down 6.38% into the close right now. We've got Hippo at about 4.8. Salesforce rotating down about 2.17. Square 258. Toast getting another red day here, down to about $55. Not too far off its excitement on IPO, but certainly down from its excitement. Momentum crushing it, absolutely destroying it. And Arrival, Arcimoto, Smile Direct Club coming up, as well as Neo today. Yeah, auto manufacturers probably on Tesla moves here. Affirm still holding on to that 3.4%. Really incredible. Lemonade up 3%, with Wynn Resorts up 2.9. Nice. Okay, 3 minutes to the closing bell. Let's take another look here at crypto. So it looks like crypto's doing a little bit of a fall here just towards the end of the day. Somebody says EXBI is also experiencing a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of a rotation down here. Looks like a lot of different stocks like Carnival. Wynn's actually going up. Carnival went down here into the close. Alibaba up 3.43% today. Otherwise, relatively looks like stable closings here. So then we have, let's go see what earnings we have today. Let's find out really quick if there are any. Usually on Mondays you don't, but you never know. Well, it's generally Fridays that you don't, I should say, but often Mondays are off as well. Oh, well, look, Aurora Cannabis reports today. They report at 15 minutes after the hour. Interesting. Is Dave & Buster's falling here? Let's look at Dave & Buster's. Oh, yeah, look at Dave & Buster's kind of fall into the close there. Wow, D&B down 1% here, 1.01%. Google down about 0.8, and yeah. All right, let's take a look here. Oh, it looks like the CEO of Aurora Cannabis will be on CNBC after their earnings. All right, let's see here. Okay. So, what else do we have? Any other news? Let's search really quickly. Bond yield spike, prefer rotation into value. Oh, let's take a look at this article together. All right, so thanks to bond yield spiking, we have a tech-heavy NASDAQ 100 to underperform major equity benchmarks. Mega cap FANG shares, Netflix and Amazon, were dragged down by analyst comments. Meanwhile, economically sensitive companies like energy, financial, and smaller firms advanced. Traders began forward wagers on rate hikes after Jerome Powell said the central bank would start tapering in November. Yields are rising sharply, reflecting investor expectations about monetary tightening and surging inflationary pressures. Boy, how many times have we heard that this year? All right, we'll see. Let's listen in to the close.
70 points, the high of the session on the Dow is 263, but the intraday charts of the Dow do show you that leg lower that we've taken of late. The sector performance underneath remains the same. Energy, financials comfortably outperforming the other sectors. About half of the sectors are higher.
All right.
Healthcare, tech.
Looks like Dow Jones is ending up about 0.21. S&P 500 down 0.28. NASDAQ down 0.52. And the Russell 2000 up 1.46. Russell 2000 doing exceptionally well here as we do close and we talk about this potential for higher yields, leading people to escape those higher valuation, larger tech companies and search for smaller tech companies or just even companies in different sectors. Let's see how things ended up on the day. We had Camber Naked, Metamaterial, Electromechanica, Gevo, XL Fleet, Workhorse, Fuel Cell, TMC, Hyliion, Big Digital, and Aurora Cannabis all end up substantially today, anywhere between 7 and 31%. All of these that I just mentioned, either SPACs or momentum plays at one point or another. Pretty incredible move here by the sort of risk-on trade. You did, however, have some traders really punish stocks like Dutch Brothers, which has been running pretty incredibly since its IPO. Canoe had an incredible run last week, but also punished 7.8%, with Dutch Bros down almost a full 10%. And Moderna selling off about 5% here. Got 23andMe down 6%, Matterport down 6.5%, which we do expect Matterport to potentially fall down to about that $16 to $17 range, something very common with the SPACs that you see these sort of rotations back down after runs. So do expect that. Don't expect runs to be permanent. Twitter down 2.88%. Crypto has been having a little bit of a rough day here. We just hit under, there we go. We're bobbing right now between $43,000 and that high $42,000 figure. Then AMC did rotate down today and did sort of relatively fall into the close, so a tiny little pickup there right at the end. Not enough to make you go positive on the day, though. I did close out my call contracts that I had. I sold calls, and so I closed those out. We've got Dutch Bros ending up actually 10.32% down. This has updated, and Bitcoin now in the 29.77 range. Roblox back to about 80. This was a stock that Kathy really started adding in the mid 60s and mid 70s. So we'll see if we return. Woo! Then we've got Cardano sitting at 217. Okay, we talked about the downs here. SoFi actually ended up going positive today. There was a moment where SoFi was red. So okay, let's see what other news do we have here. Lucid, yeah, Lucid's doing well here. Do expect Lucid to start delivering some cars this year, which that's going to be huge because it's really going to give folks an opportunity to criticize or to praise Lucid on the road, especially as they compare to Tesla. That's probably going to be the biggest factor is how does Lucid compare to Tesla? Lucid is up 1.81% today, and then after hours is up about 0.7%. Yeah, we don't actually believe Lucid will beat Tesla, but it is something that will be competing for market share. All right. So let's see here. Let's see. Oh, let's kill that CNBC there in the background a little bit. They were on for a tiny little bit. Okay, so what else? Let's see what other news we've got. Okay, let's see here. Fed Governor Bernard said the labor market may soon meet her yardstick for pulling back purchases. Facebook is pausing its Instagram Kids. Netflix sank as Bank of America Corp noted there were, quote, very few new announcements during the video streaming giant's global fan event on release dates for 2022 content. Amazon's price target was cut by Morgan Stanley, which said the online retailer's profits could come under pressure as a result of rising headcount and rising wages. That's all right. That's why we got a firm. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if you see people rotating money from a company like Amazon into a firm, because really, if you want to see sales growth at Amazon, one of the big things that could potentially lead to that kind of sales growth is buy now, pay later, finally incorporated into the Amazon cart. This is going to be such a big moment. I really am bullish on that. I'm bullish on the car insurance integration for Lemonade. I'm probably more bullish, even though my investment's not too far off. And that's really just because I feel like Hippo's sold off too much, which is why I invested where it is. But I do believe that long-term, Lemonade has some exciting things coming to it with its conversion of the millennial audience. So Cardano's still slipping here, 216 again. Crypto having its slow pullback here. Let's see. Wow, Affirm almost ended up 4%. It did hit a crazy high today as well, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. It hit 131 today. That's crazy. C3 AI stuck around that $50 range. API, the backbone of Clubhouse, up 6.16%, but still sitting under $30 a share. And let's see here. We've got, Bitcoin 42.8 now, rotating down a little bit again. Okay, let's see what other news we have. Let's go to Barron's. I'd be curious to see Upstart. Hold on, let's see here. Upstart. I don't see what they did today. Where are they? Upstart has been one that has gone on this incredible run. Here we go, Upstart. It's up 1.25% today. Oops, there we go. 1.25% today. Now closed at, somewhere around 332. Nice. All right, so we talked about that. Ooh, that's interesting. Warby Parker IPOs this week. Ooh, I'm gonna write that down. Let's see here. Okay, Warby Parker. I don't know the other ones, but I'll write them down. Alview and Olapex. Fascinating. All right, so yields, Dow aims for 4-day win streak. Bigger tech stocks tumbling. China's ban on crypto isn't hurting Bitcoin. Here's why. Okay. Lee Cycle Holdings. There you go. I feel like somebody was asking about this one. EVs could jumpstart Lee Cycle. This is something always interesting I recommend looking into, is keeping an eye on these things. I don't know that it's worth us going through right now. Lee Cycle Holdings in Barron's. Could be an interesting article to look into. It's a lot of work that goes into battery recycling, just battery development in general. Pretty incredible. Waiting to buy a firm in $90 to $100 range. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I would probably double down if we saw that. Let's see. SoFi. Yeah, SoFi's great. Like SoFi. Yeah, no kidding. We all start with a rock and a torch in this fight. I love the tension always with Hex. I like Warby Parker, in fact. These are Warby Parkers right here. Hashtag not sponsored. Now, while this video may not be sponsored by Warby Parker, it is sponsored by Public, where you can get up to $70 in totally free stocks by going to metkevin.com/public. Public does not buy or sell your information. They do not use payment for order flow. And when I make transactions or trades on Public, if you follow me at @MeKevin, you will see them, which is kind of cool. You'll see my notes or talk about oops, I'm messing that up. There we go. You'll see my notes or when I do a buy or sell there. I just sent over another 50K to public.com. So I will when I make a trade in Public with that 50K, which I expect to be buying the dip sometime this week, you'll get to see it. So it's worth signing up. Get your free stock, follow along, and see what you think of Public. I'm sure you'll love it. So again, go to metkevin.com/public, get a stock worth up to $70. All right. So what else? Okay. All right. So what's news? I don't know. Let's take a listen over here. Let's see what we got.
To the next couple quarters is to reach 20 or to reach 17% in 2022. It's currently margins are at a peak now. If there is risk to that, that's what I think the biggest risk in the market is to where margins can go from here. The historical margin rate for the S&P 500 is about 14%. So even if we come in a little bit, I think the market can withstand that as long as the consumer remains strong and is able to continue to spend. I think that we could be in a place to really maintain that above trend growth at least through 2022.
AJ, real estate was down 1.7% today. Is that a buying opportunity?
I think it is. I mean, if we look at inflation, we're a little bit concerned about it being a little bit.
Okay, I'm going to pull off this here. I want to mention that Aurora Cannabis has earnings in about 4 minutes. So I'm going to be covering those. I'm excited for those. Aurora Cannabis. A lot of hope right now, a lot of hopium, I call it, for cannabis plays to come back strong. Expecting some sort of federal legalization. Folks, I don't know about that. I just hate to say it, but I don't know. I don't see it. You've got a situation where Joe Biden is almost guaranteed not likely to do any kind of legalization push in 2022 or at least through until the 2022 election. And then in the second term, it's a maybe, or I should say second half of his first. That's where it might become a maybe. And second term, if he was reelected, that would make it even more likely. but I think it'd be too politically sensitive to do any kind of cannabis legislation anytime soon. Is what I believe. It could be wrong, but that's just an expectation. So we'll see. All right. Federal legalization would ruin. Oh wow, they're gonna end up putting nicotine in it. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I don't know about that. But alrighty then. So what else do we have? Let's see what's moving in the after hours. After hours, moving to the downside. Ooh, what do we got here? Moving to the downside in after hours, we got MREN. We've got. I still can't believe they ran up to $10 on this news of essentially nothing. Like I should have checked while the market was open if I could still short this thing. But anyway, then you've got Gap, So Nordic American tankers. Anytime you see oil prices fluctuate substantially, especially if it has to do with potentially storing oil, Nordic American tankers is where people flow to. But the problem is the stock is so volatile and people see it as a cheap stock. But look at what it's done. It's been a rough one to hold. You got momentum during the pandemic because everybody was freaking out about storing oil. Oil went negative for a period of time there. And it's just bled out since. It's really tough stock to hold. Let's see here. What else do we have? So no real other reds here. I don't see anything super red. Okay. So Aurora Cannabis should be out shortly here. Tesla coming down about 0.35% of the after hours, sitting at about 788. We're really waiting for that run to get above 800. Let's go. I did right before this run. I felt fortunate about that. I did dump my coverage on Tesla. So that was well timed. That doesn't mean everything I do is well timed. Some things are not well timed. But again, the goal, you all know, the goal in long run investing is to buy and hodl. The goal in trading is to be right more than you're wrong. And I think that's something that's easy for people to forget. People spend lots of time talking about their winners, not a lot of time talking about their losers. But you got to look at anytime you hear trading stories or stock stories or whatever, always ask yourself, are you ultimately trading where you are more right than you are wrong? And if you're not, if you're more wrong than you're right, then ask yourself, why are you trading? What could be changed? Is there a strategy that's not working out? But anyway, okay, so Aurora Cannabis should be out right now. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Revenue misses. Okay, so Canadian dollars of revenue here. We're at 54.8 million with the estimate at 56.4. So that's a 1.8 million Canadian dollar miss. Loss from operations at 134 mil. My goodness, that's a lot. So net revenue misses here. All right. Net revenue rose 9% compared to the prior year. Yeah, you're not getting a lot of growth in net revenue right now, especially with a miss there on earnings. Business transformation plan on track. Reiterates annual cost savings of 60 to 80 mil, providing clear path to adjusted EBITDA profitability. That sounds hopeful, but also not sure if that's legitimately what could end up happening. Remember the SEC reports, people think it's just all like, oh, this is all fact, take it all with gold. And sometimes you even see YouTube channels that just read off what the CEOs say. And it's like, wait a minute, you got to do the bias check, okay? The CEO saying how great a quarter is different from the quarter actually being great. So, and that's not to say don't listen to them, but have your bias fact check in place. Shares right now only moving down about 3.84%. So now about 3.2%. So actually not as bad as expected. Options were implying about a 20% move in either direction. But not a surprise for the cannabis market to see a little bit of a reduction there in profitability. All right. So what else? I think that about does it. Yeah, ACB down about 3.5%. So, with that said, I would say, hey, get your free stock worth up to $70 with Public. Go to metkevin.com/public. And appreciate y'all being here. We'll see you in the next video. Next up is an infrastructure video, so expect that maybe in the next 15 minutes or so. And that's really good. So if you're worried about the debt ceiling, you don't understand what the debt ceiling is, you don't understand what would happen if the debt ceiling got breached, which we've technically already breached it. I'll explain that. If you're not sure what happens when the government shuts down, you're not sure where negotiations are, you want all of this bundled together in one video, go to that video. It does come out in about 12 minutes, so stay tuned.